Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Playbook Sports Horse Report on the Prime Sports Network. I'm Greg DePalma, and I'm joined by John Hardoon and Mark Lawrence. And guys, last week, not as good as week one, but that's okay. John, you had one of your horses that didn't even make it to the starting gate.
Well, he got scratched about a half hour before post, and when you're in a stake race, you have the right to scratch up to 45 minutes before the race, where other horses have to scratch early in the morning. So, you get a scratch. There's nothing you can do about it. And that was it. So that's what happened. So we actually scratched out of last week since we didn't have much of an opinion in the first race. And we said that also. So that being said, this week we have opinions. Oh, I have opinions anyway. So
meanwhile, I didn't have good luck last week, and we've done this before, the new year, so I'm going to do it again. Both races last week, I had both of my horses leading at the top of the stretch, and this is kind of how I felt. Kind of looks like John there, actually. Got the glasses.
I can relate the looks, Greg. I can relate, yeah.
That was me, though, last week. Seriously. It was like, first race, my two horses were leading, and I was okay. But then I saw, the eventual winner. I said, I could see what's going to happen here. And the next race, again. I said, all right, hey, you know what? I had the favorite, one of the favorites in the lead, too. So I feel strong. And no, not even one of the favorites was able to hold on. I don't know. It was a Kentucky Derby prep race. I didn't think that was, I looked at the Holy Bull. I thought that was a little bit better than the Withers last week. I don't know about you, John.
It was a lot better. And number-wise, the race came up much stronger. The winner of the Holy Bull ran a 7, and the winner of the Withers last week ran a 13.
Aha, yes. So, you see, I didn't even see the sheets, and I could tell you it wasn't as good.
Yeah, the race was no.
All right. Well, this week we have a race from Gulfstream and a race from Santa Anita. The race at Gulfstream that we are going to start with is race 11, and that is the Grade 3 Gulfstream Park Sprints, the 42nd running, 4-year-olds and up. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll do the Santa Monica Stakes race from Santa Anita. But let's start, first of all, with the race at Gulfstream. And again, 6 furlongs. In this one, I am actually, look, the 5 is the heavy favorite, Mischievous Alex. Let's just start with this horse, because obviously we want to do our best to hope the horse doesn't come in the money. 2 of the last 3 races, the horse did not come in the money, so that's a good sign. Came out of nowhere with a 6 in his last race. That was at Gulfstream, 6 furlongs, so it was the same setup, John. But is it possible we get ourselves a bounce? The previous high from Mischievous Alex was a 10. So now he's at a 6. He's got less than a month off. So, we would want this horse, and we feel that it's possible that this horse bounces, right?
Absolutely. You nailed it. He ran a huge race last time out. The only plus that he has going for him is last time out, he ran that race for Safi Joseph, who's the trainer of this horse. He took over the training 2 starts back. And he got the 6 out of the horse. And this guy is known as one of the super trainers in Florida. I'm not saying he does anything wrong, but his horses appear to run better than they're just surviving on hay and oats.
Well, Service is a good trainer, though. So.
Service?
Who had the horse previous? Service?
Yeah, but exactly. That's the whole point. Other good trainers had the horse, but this guy's a super trainer. He got a lifetime top out of the horse, and now the horse is coming back without any time off. So I'm hoping, listen, can he win? Of course he could win, but he's going to be odds on. He's going to be less than even money. And there's no question that he's reacting off of the big race that he had last time out. So if you know a horse is going backwards and he's a short price, why guess how far back he's going? You know he's not going to put in the same effort that he put in last week. So if he's a short price, I would try to beat him. And the horse that I'm going to try to beat him with is the 6-horse Wind of Change. You know, I like the 9-2 compared to the 6-5, and I think it'll be longer than that. And by the way, the 1, the 3, the 5, Mischievous Alex, the 6, and the 7 are all coming off of Lasix tomorrow for the first time. So that could be another problem. You know, he ran the 6 last time out on Lasix, the 5-horse, and now he's Mischievous Alex, and now he's off of Lasix.
All right, so the 1, go ahead, give me those numbers again.
The 1, the 3, the 5, the 6, the 7 are all coming off of Lasix out of their last horse.
All right.
So
then, if I remove any of those horses, the horse I like then is Cajun Brother. That's the 4, 6-1 shot. I look at this horse and I see, and I know it's let's see, he's only got 8 starts, and 6 of them are at 6 furlongs. Not huge difference between 6 and 7 furlongs, but still. But when I look at the,
but he's going 6 though tomorrow, Greg. He's going 6. He's not going 7.
Sure.
He's going 6.
So when I take a look at the previous 4 races that the horse ran at 6 furlongs, he's improved each time out. His last was a 10. That was it was just a few weeks ago. So why can't I believe then that he can continue to improve and maybe hit an 8? You know, he's 4 out of 6 at the distance with wins, 6 out of 3 at Gulfstream with wins, 4 out of 8 lifetime with wins, and I get 6-1, and he doesn't have to worry about the Lasix.
Yeah, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And you can make the same case, by the way, for the 2, Chivalry. You know, if you like the 4, you could like the 2, because to me they're the same horse. And I think the trainer on the 2 is better than the trainer of the 4, and the 2 has the same opportunity to improve that the 4 does. But again, I'm going with the 6, even though he's coming off of Lasix, because again, they're going to give them a substitute for Lasix. Whatever they're doing, you know, they're going to do anyway. And I just thought the 6 would be a similar price to both the 2 and 4, you know, and I just thought he was more likely to run. He's a 6-year-old, and he's got a lot more experience. And I think he has a shot to put in a big race. But again, you can make a case for a lot of horses. Once you're trying to beat Mischievous Alex, well, with the exception of the 3 Admiral Lynch and maybe the 7 Frosted Grace, the rest of them are all within a point or 2 of each other. You know, so I'd be shopping around for a value in there.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the 1 and the 4. And I'll put in the 5 as well, you know, as long as he's not a crazy heavy favorite. But the 1, especially if, you know, most of these horses are dealing with the Lasix. The 1, he did run that 5. That was last August. He ran an 8 his last time out. He's been in the money over his last 6 races. And, you know, the 5 tells you that, look, Mischievous Alex ran a 6. Hey, I ran a 5. I mean, I guess I should be concerned with the trainer who hasn't won. He's 0 for 26 at Gulfstream so far, but he's got an upgrade with Jose Ortiz as the rider, and you're getting good odds.
He's a much better trainer than an 0 for 27 trainer, I'll tell you. I mean, he's a real trainer. He's just off to a tough start, but he's fine. He could certainly win, and you're getting the right price.
Now, on that too, John, explain to me, I'm just looking at the form here, and I see, well, look, he got off to an interesting start in his career, raced at the Florida Derby, finished 2nd. Oh, okay. You know, that's pretty nice. Then he goes to a claimer, then back to the Bluegrass and the Travers. Explain to, you know, the average fan,
I don't know
what's that claimer all about?
It's an optional claimer.
What's that about?
He wasn't
because sometimes you look at that and I can see people going, oh, I see claimer in there. I don't like that. That's a negative word.
Well, it shouldn't be a negative word because they're all price claimers. They start at 6,000 and then go up to 200,000.
And this was 100,000.
So,
yeah.
Right, and it was probably an optional claiming race, which means there was 2 horses in the race eligible to be claimed out of that race, and I don't know if he was one of them. You know, they'll write races sometimes, especially for good horses. They need a race, and there's no race in the condition book. So that the racing secretary will put a race together on the spot where he'll call, you know, a bunch of trainers, and hopefully he'll get 5 or 6 horses that are willing to go in the race. and that's what that optional claimer was.
Mark?
It wasn't a
I,
race that was
I
scheduled
think,
to be run.
Greg, I think in that race that you're talking about, the optional claimer, it fit well into the scheduling for Chivalry
That's
coming out of the
exactly what
Florida.
it was. That's
I'm sorry?
exactly what it was.
Right.
Mark it on the nose. He's 100% right. It was in line with, they had a schedule mapped out or a plan mapped out for what they're going to do with the horse. And that what if they had a race planned for that day and it didn't go, the racing secretary did them a favor and wrote a race for them. That's what happened.
And so,
And it being Ralph Nix, who's really connected to Gulfstream, I'm sure that's exactly what happened. Right.
Yeah.
and interesting too, because that race, the horse ran an 8, which was the best sheet number the horse had run to that point. Now, Chivalry ran an
Right.
8 in Tampa in December, then ran a 10 last time out. But look, you are talking about a horse that has run in 3 pretty big races over his career so far.
Most of these horses are all good horses. They're all, sprint horses that run in sprint races. And what you see is what you get. They're a notch below, like Breeders' Cup sprint horses. They're a few points away as far as figures are concerned. So this is like the group underneath.
And lastly, with this race, you said 6, Wind of Change. That's going to be your top horse. Tell me why.
Because I think he's going to run the
Another
9
9.
today. And I think he's in top form now, and I think he's going to run the 9. So if he runs the 9, he's as good or better than the rest of them. I think he's in a good spot. He's drawn outside. You don't want to be speeding stuck inside, because if someone leaves from an outside post, well, then you're pinned inside. But when you break from an outside post, then you get to make the call where you want to go, when you want to go. You're always better off drawing outside around 1 turn, in my opinion, than being stuck inside.
All right, let's go. Do you like anyone in the race, Mark?
Well, I can see where John's coming from with the 6 horse, and I would not disagree with that. The horse that I would look at would be the 2, the Chivalry horse. A lot of horses are shipping here. It's winter. He's a home course horse here. No shipping involved here for the horse, none whatsoever. Ralph Nix knows how to find the winner circle. Good trainer down here in Florida. And I also like the fact that, like you said, John, before, the horses can't read racing forms. And a lot of the horses in here are coming out of graded stakes races, or have been in them of a sort. But you've got Chivalry coming out of a grade 3 in the Fred Hooper here. I think that also gets him ready for this race as well. So I'll be putting the 2 horse along with John's 6 into the race.
Yeah, and speaking of that, the 7, Frosted Grace. John, you mentioned, the numbers and stuff, but with Frosted Grace, he's ran almost every one of his races has been an optional claimer, but 16 out of 21 in the money, 10 for 10 in the money at 6 furlongs. So he's never not finished in the money at one of these races, and you're getting 6 to 1. He does have a couple of 8s.
Yeah, like I told you before, you can make a case for a lot of horses in the race,
Yep.
and I guess to me he's a little slower, and the odds don't.
Yeah, he should be, and he probably will go off a little bit better than 6 to 1.
Like, I would much rather bet the 1 at 12 to 1 than the 7 at 6 to 1.
Yeah.
That's
I don't
just
think he's going to go off at 6 to 1.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think he'll go off longer than the 6 to 1.
All right, let's go to Santa Anita, and this race should go off about 7:20 Eastern time. 7 furlongs, Grade 2 Santa Monica Stakes. Now this is for fillies and mares, so they're all females. Is there a big difference between a filly and a mare, John?
No. So, like, is there a difference between a man and a woman? I mean,
Oh yeah, after racing. Well, now we have transgenders.
yeah,
So
well,
that's
we
a
don't have
whole
any,
different story we're not going to get into.
we don't have any transgender horses yet. And let's keep
Well, you don't know that, though.
You're right.
You're not
This
speaking
is
to the horses on a daily basis.
This
All
is a
right.
terrific. This is a terrific betting race.
Yes,
Baffert has
12 horses.
horses in here. Yeah, there's only
Baffert's got 3
11.
horses.
There's going to be 11 because the 10 horse is going to be a late scratch. Pharaoh's Heart. He's coming out. So.
All right, so that's oh yeah, that's right, the 10. Okay, and I'm gonna my top 2 in here. Since you started off with the last race, I'll start off with this one, John. I'm gonna go with the 4 and the 5. Let's see, the 4. He won this race last year, running a 2. Now, what I like about it is that if you take a look at it, since he ran the 2 in this race last year, all the other races were all 1 mile or longer. Now, since then, he's run a 6 and an 8, so it's not like he's completely fell off the map. But he hasn't run a 7 furlong race since this race. Also, 10 of 11 in the money with 5 wins, very consistent. 10 for 10 in the money at Santa Anita. And then the 5, Baffert and Rosario. So I'm a little afraid of what the odds might look with this horse. But I like the fact that the horse gets better every year. It's just a fact. His sheet numbers have gone from last year 8, 9. Now he starts off with a 6 in January. So 4-1 and 7-2. I'm just going to go hard on a 4-5 exacta.
Well, everything you said was kind of right. The problem with the 4 horse is that while her sprint numbers are good around 1 turn, this is a horse that's got a lot of problems. First of all, she's missing 1 eye. You wouldn't know that unless you were familiar with the situation.
When
and
did
she's
she lose the eye?
Early on in her career. I think on the farm there was some sort of accident or something. And if you'll see tomorrow, when it comes post time, every other horse goes to the gate with another pony taking them to the gate. This horse usually has to be taken out by her groom. She holds up post time for a long time. A lot of times she uses her race before the race even starts. She expends all that energy fighting with everybody. But when she's good, she's real good, and the reason she's been running around 2 turns is because that's where the big money is for horses. The distant races, not the sprint races.
Maybe that's why she's better in sprint races, because she wears down so much pre-race.
That could be, But the problem I have with her, that the 2 that she ran last year may have really hurt this horse because she's never come back anywhere near it. Would I use this horse? Yeah, I love the 5 horse in here, Kahira, your other horse.
Yeah.
It's Baffert. The horse doesn't run all that often. But when she shows up, she always runs. And she's getting better at the age of 5, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And Rosario and Baffert have a terrific record together. When Rosario rides for him, whenever anyone rides for him, usually these horses are all ready to go. And listen, it's a full field of 11, so you're going to get a price. There's going to be no big favorites here. And I think Kahira really is going to win this race. I would play an exacta with your horse, but I think Kahira is a standout.
Okay.
Hey, John, can I ask you a question here, John, real quick?
Sure.
Before we turn it back to Greg. I see Bob Baffert has 3 horses in the race. And I noticed the horse that Greg liked here, the 4 horse, Mike Smith had been riding the horse. Now he's going to the 6 horse, okay? It's a Baffert horse. Now, I don't know if Mike Smith's connected at the hip to Baffert, and that's the reason why. But looking at the 6 horse here, do you like him as of the 3 horses? I know you like the 1 Baffert horse, the Kahira horse, the 5 horse. Of the other 2, the 6 or the 1, do you like better? That's what first question to you.
I like the 6 much better than the 1. First of all, the 1 has the rail at 7 furlongs, and that's not the place you want to be. So
that's my other question. Right.
that takes some points off of him, and the 6 is better drawn, and the 6 is faster off the figures. 6 has 9s. The 6 is 8-1. The 1 is 5-1. And Smith gets all the live ones for Baffert. Why he got off the 4, that's an interesting question. But again, he probably knows exactly what I said. This horse is a pain in the neck. She gives him a hard time. You're going to see tomorrow. Hopefully she'll go in without any headaches, but she's a hard horse to ride, and she's a hard horse to get into the gate, so.
Mike Smith, by the way, has won 3 of the last 7 Santa Monica Stakes races and won last year with Hard Not to Love. The only thing I was a little bit concerned with the 6, no wins at Santa Anita, no wins at 7 furlongs.
Well, how many races does she have at Santa Anita, and how many races does she have at 7 furlongs?
She's only got 7 career starts, 3 at Santa Anita, right. 2 at the distance.
Okay.
There's a first time for everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she's
11 horses. You have to nitpick.
Yeah, I don't think she's as good as Kahira. That's why I'm putting Kahira on top of her. But again, she has a chance, but she has the same chance as other horses in the race, such as Amuse or Biddy Duke. They all look as good as Golden Principle, and they're probably longer prices. But Kahira, I just thought was a little better than them, and that's why I think she's going to win.
Just running quickly through the field of some of the other contenders. Fair Maiden a 4-1 shot. Ricardo Gonzalez jumped on board in the last race for the first time, got a win at Santa Anita at 7 furlongs, ran an 8. That was the best rate number for this horse. But she was coming off a 16 in her previous race. So she goes from a 16 to an 8. And she's also a short price.
She looks like she's bouncing to me. I would play that horse to bounce.
Yeah. Also, let's see, you have, who else did I want to talk about? Well, we've already talked about all of the top ones. Any of the other horses that interest you, Mark?
Well, I want to turn back to the question that John hit on a little bit here. A good friend of mine who I go to the races with religiously, who passed recently, was a longtime horse racing advocate, and his trainer told him when he owned horses to never play the one horse in a 7 furlong race and to look to the outside horses. What is the advantage of not playing the one horse, and is there any advantage of looking at the outside horses in a 7 furlong race?
Well, 7 furlongs and a mile at certain tracks, the mile, there's a chute. When they leave, they come out of the gate and there's a chute. So the track is banked. It's literally on a hill. If you go to the top of the stretch or the top of the back stretch and you look down at the track, you'll see that the outside horses are higher up than the bottom horses. So when you're on the rail, you're literally running uphill, as opposed to when you're outside, you're coming downhill and you have that momentum that gives you an edge.
It's definitely unfair.
Well, but that's the way it has to be built that way, or horses won't be able to make turns around the turn if it's not banked. So
the luck of the draw.
There is definitely an edge to being outside. Right. There's definitely an edge to being outside. You don't want to be inside. I mean, listen, inside horses certainly do win. They certainly can win, but it's just an advantage to being outside.
On the 8, no wins since 2018. But except for the one poor effort at Santa Anita, she has run 2 8s and 2 9s at the track, and she's 8-1.
Yeah, and it's Dick Mandela, and she could certainly get in. That's why I was using the 5 with the 6, 8, and 11 underneath, looking for value, playing against Hard Not to Love.
And Biddy Duke is coming off, I believe, a career best 9 at Santa Anita a few weeks ago. So chances are that's another horse that'll bounce from a 15 to a 9.
But she's going to be 15-1 or higher, and she's drawn well. She gets an outside draw going 7 furlongs where you want to be.
She's got the good rider-trainer combo.
Right, and if you look at her sheet, she's just getting better. She's improving. She was a claimer, and she's worked her way now into stake races. So all that is good.
All right. So again, your top pick in this race, John, is
the 5 Kahira, right?
And Mark,
I'm gonna play the 6 and the 5 together, a Baffert exacta, if you will, right on John's shoulders here. Okay, but I'm gonna play two of those Baffert horses for a 2-horse exacta.
All right, sounds good. We'll do this again next week. We'll be on a little earlier next week, but it doesn't matter because the races are on Saturday anyway. And I know in a couple of weeks, Gulfstream is going to have a pretty big card. A lot of stakes races.
Yeah, they have the Florida Derby. They have a bunch of big races.
Oh, that's coming up in 2 weeks. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
All right, guys.
Thanks, John.
Stay safe.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you so much.
Guys, have a great week. May the horse be with you.